We do this too, we're bringing that fire. Talking real talk, Kentucky's on fire. From bourbon to ball games, we got that flow. On the We Do This Too podcast, yeah, you know. From country roads to the city lights, they bring the heat, man, every night. We do this too, let's make it clear. If you ain't listening, you ain't here.
Welcome back, y'all. It's another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. And as always, we are presented to you in partnership with brands that we feel represent the very best of the outdoor industry. So before we get started, we'd like to give a special shout out to Moultrie Products, Ullers Archery, Threads Custom Bowstrings, G5 Outdoors, Blackburn Apparel Company, Deer Pip Scents and Lures, Vision Clothing, Bluebird Waterfowl Company, Angry Chicken Outdoors, Alps Outdoors, and last but certainly not least, a special shout out to the good folks over at Briley's for leaving a legacy of shooting innovation. Whether you need new cameras to elevate the scouting experience, new arrows, or anything for your archery setups, clothing, scent, or whatever it may be, as a supporter of the podcast, you can use promo code WDTT promo. That's WDTT promo for 15% off anything on the website at ullersarchery.com. Some exclusions may apply. With that being said, let's dive into another episode of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast with your host, Mr. Courtney Williams. What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Williamson. I've got a super special guest on today, Mr. AB, official Bryant Land. I think his name, what's your name? Adam Bryant, right? Is that right? Adam Bryant. I done messed your name all up.
That is the wildest introduction I have ever got.
I done messed your name all up.
What your name is? What your name is, boy?
Well, I sound like somebody's uncle at the barbecue. What's your name, boy?
Yeah, who your people? Who your name is? What's up, Sewell? How you been, bro?
I'm good, man. Grinding, man, out here, trying to make it happen. Doing the daddy thing, doing the husband thing, trying to do the outdoor thing, man. Just life.
Yep. I got two of those three on lock. The other one of them, I don't have to worry about the husband thing, but the outdoor and the daddy thing will keep you busy enough, and work will keep you busy enough.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, man. The daddy thing, man, I love it to death. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world, man. My son is 7 years old, and he's me all over. And it's like he acts like me, how I used to act when I was 7 years old. He's got my mouth, he's got everything. It's fun. But sometimes it's just like, dude, like, Lord, you punishing me for the sins. Yeah. Now I know what my parents went through, man, but it's fun. He's 7 years old. He's getting to that age where he's wanting to do everything daddy wants to do. So it's kind of cool. So
of course, that's the great part, right? When they 7, they still like you. Wait till you get about like 14, 15. That's when they know everything. And you don't know nothing.
Yeah, man. I ain't looking towards them years, because I remember when I was 13, 14, man, I thought I knew everything. Didn't know shit.
Yep. Exactly.
And got older, started understanding all that. I'm like, man, I really didn't know nothing when I was 13, 14, like I thought I did.
Right. Like, you ain't
crazy, man. But yeah, man, introduce yourself and just tell everybody how you got introduced to the outdoors, man. We'll get this thing rocking and rolling.
Yeah, so like I said, name is Adam Bryant III. Most people call me AB or either AB3. Official Bryant Land is where you can find all of my stuff. Bryant Land on YouTube, official Bryant Land on Instagram. But basically, I just got started in the outdoors. Just started off like ATV and I grew up in South Carolina. So I grew up in the country on a dirt road. So I was exposed to like a lot of the stuff outdoors, but I really just didn't get into it until like almost like late adult life. It started, I bought an ATV probably when I was about 30, in my late 30s. And then I just got tired of playing video games and stuff and really enjoyed being outdoors and riding ATV trails, being in the woods. And then I decided to pick up a bow because I really wasn't a big gun person at the time, and just picked up a bow and I took a class, and I was like, okay, if I can understand the mechanics of just shooting it and whatnot. I took like one class, and then I went over to the Bass Pro Shop, and as a Father's Day gift to myself, I bought a bear cruiser, some arrows, and a target, and then just basically taught myself how to shoot a bow, and it's kind of been just rolling ever since. I dabbled in waterfowling a little bit, dabble in turkey hunting. Not really big on fishing. Still like riding my ATV, but deer hunting, hunting deer and hunting pigs with a bow is about where I'm at. That's my jam. So I pretty much live for it, all year long.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, we kind of got similar stories. I didn't start bow hunting until later, and when I got to college, basically. I met a cat, and we were in the gym together, and this big white boy, Clay Kirby, man, shout out to Clay. He was a big power lifter, big bodybuilder, country boy, man. We just hit it off first time we met each other, man. We got to talking, and he said he was a big bow hunter. I said, man, I'd like to get into it. I just never done it, because my dad didn't bow hunt. My dad was a big shotgun guy. He didn't deer hunt. All we did growing up was shoot squirrels, rabbits, quail, stuff like that, man. But I used to go over to this man's house, and as soon as you walk in the garage, he's got deer heads all around the garage, all in his house. This man's probably got, I'm not kidding, probably 75 to 100 deer heads. And
Wow.
like this man is a beast with a bow. And I think he's about 50, 54, 55 now, man. And he taught me how to shoot a bow in his backyard. And I ended up buying that bow from him since he upgraded. And that's when my archery journey started, because I didn't know anything about archery growing up, Like my uncle used to make us these little stick bows with, tobacco string and like some bamboo or something. We go out there just messing around, like cowboys and Indians type thing, with the people on our road, the kids, but that's not really got in there. So I love it. And it's something that's probably going to be with me to the rest of my life. And I tell everybody who's never done it, man, like go get you a bow, go to a shop, let them set you up. And the first time you harvest an animal with that, you'll probably put that rifle down.
Yeah. Yep. Or in my case, never picked it up.
Right. Yeah, I came from like a shotgun background, so we had this discussion on my other podcast, New Jack Archers, but like I come from the shotgun background, so my pins, when I first got the pins that I was shooting with Clay, they were horizontal, and I didn't like them.
Yeah,
I wanted something straight up that resembled, like I'm shooting a shotgun. So I ended up getting those vertical pins, and that was a game changer for me. And then, the more I shot, the more, the better I got and whatever. But I'm telling you, I'm saying it's something about that stick and string, man. It's hard to explain if you've never done it, but it's poetry in motion. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%. Like you like it, you grow to love it. It can humble you. It's a lot to me. Like I played baseball in high school, and it's a lot like baseball. Like, it's fundamentals. You're gonna be successful, and then sometimes it's gonna be humbling, and sometimes it's gonna take you a little bit longer to figure out what's going wrong. But when it all comes together, it's a, like you said, it's a beautiful thing. It's poetry in motion. Like I started with the multi-pen and was okay. And then when I got on the single pen, I didn't look back. And when I shot with a single pen sight the first time, it was just like, ah, like it just opened up. Like, why would anybody want to shoot more than one pen? Like for me, at least for me anyway. So, but yeah, it's been a journey and still growing, still learning, still got things I want to do. So, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah. Yeah, you just made a heck of a reference because I played baseball too growing up. I was, played pitcher, third base, a little bit of outfield, but mostly I pitched and played third. And I approached archery from a pitching perspective.
Okay.
That's how I kind of started with it. You got different pitches. You got your curveball, you got your fastball, you got your changeup, all that.
Yep.
But you throw your fastball, you hit the corners with your fastball. As soon as they call the changeup, you throw your changeup just like you do the fastball because you don't want the batter to see your arm slow down. So it's the same repetition every time. That's how I approached it. And sports-wise, man, like I tell people, man, if you play sports, you got your ups and you got your downs. Hunting, archery, it's all the same way. You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to want to throw that bow into a creek, a pond at times.
Yep.
Sometimes you think you're the best archer in the world. But it's all about repetitions. It's all about that muscle memory. Once you build that muscle memory up, and it's trial and error. You're gonna harvest some animals. You're gonna miss some animals. You're gonna take some bad shots on some animals. Yep. But it's how you learn from all those mistakes that you make. That's when you start becoming successful. That's how I kind of went with it. So you hit the nail on the head with the baseball thing. That definitely resonates with me.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. You gotta try to learn and put together a different game plan. I tell people all the time, it's trial and a lot of error in my case. Like some of the shots that I've taken, like I'm not proud of, some of the misses. It's just like, how could you miss that? Like that deer was right there. But you come home, you lick your wounds, you be mad about it, for a day or so, or not even a day or so. You might be mad for it that evening, and then the next day you get a picture on your phone from one of your cameras, and you're just like, all right, I got to get back in the woods. Like, ain't no way around it. Like, you can't go out like that. Like, you want to go out on a good note. So it's like, all right, got to get back in it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, man. As growing up where you grew up, so you grew up in South Carolina, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So when I grew up here in Kentucky, man, I grew up in a very, very, very small town. Like blink your eyes, you miss it type town, And
one stoplight.
Right. And all the black people that I knew were related to me. And we all hunted, just about everybody in my family. My dad, my grandfather hunted, my uncles, my uncle around the road, he hunted. And then my best friend, when he moved in across the road, his dad, they hunted too. But it seemed like the more people that I talked to on this podcast, they felt like they were the only people of color in their area doing some type of hunting, some type of fishing. Could you say the same thing, or did you know more people of color that did, the hunting and outdoor thing in South Carolina?
Growing up, I knew most like the people that I knew was like fished. Like we had like creeks and ponds, like my great aunts, they fished. My dad would fish a little bit, but hated to eat fish, which that was always wild to me as a kid. Couldn't stand it. Clean it, might fish a little bit, but not gonna eat it. My great aunts was the ones that really would take me and my cousins to the pond, and like we fish a little bit out there. But like as far as like my uncles and stuff like that, a lot of my uncles and stuff, they lived in the city or lived in the town or whatever. Like we was kind of like the only ones that was out there in the country. That that I knew that did that kind of stuff. Like I said, it was a heavy fishing thing. I knew of people like in school that hunted and duck hunted a little bit and stuff. Cause like I went to school when you guys came to school with shotgun racks and the shotgun in the back of their truck. Like it wasn't no school lockdowns and all that. Like, I knew guys that, hunted in the morning, drove to school, went hunting like after school or after baseball practice or whatever the case was. So, but and most of those guys, now I ain't gonna lie, now most of those guys they was white. But as far as like the fishing and just being outdoors and just playing outdoors, yeah, that came through my great aunts.
Got you. That's what's up. Yeah, my dad, he did it all. He grew up in a little cotton town outside of Memphis, Somerville, Tennessee, man. And he met my mom. They moved to Kentucky on the farm that I grew up on. The farm that my mom grew up on as well. And he taught me from a young age how to fish, how to hunt. He taught me pretty much everything he knew. And that man, he could go pretty much anywhere and find them catfish. That's all. That was his thing. Everybody knew my dad and this guy named Hook. They was best friends, and they could go anywhere, man, and catch catfish. That was their thing, man. And it was kind of crazy to watch it growing up because my dad like didn't have a lot of time on the weekends for real. But when he did, he'd go to these pay lakes, which some people say it's cheating or whatever, but you still got to catch the fish. It ain't like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it was like funny watching him, man. I'd be sitting right next to him on a bucket. He's over slaying fish. I'm pretty much throwing in the same spot he's throwing in. And then all of a sudden, Dad's catching all these fish, and then you're seeing everybody else trying to get, like, as I call it, pay lake fishing, trying to get as close as they could to my dad. Dad's in there catching them, and everybody's like, how are you catching these fish? And then nobody else catching them. And I'm just like, it was just amazing watching him do that. And then his best friend Hook would be like on the other side of me. I'm in the middle. They over there just catching the hell out of them. I'm sitting there on a bucket, ain't caught nothing. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
It was just amazing watching them do it, man. And then watching my dad in like the rabbit field, man, because we hunted with dogs. We always had some blue ticks or some red tick beagles. And Dad always said when a rabbit gets up, he's probably always gonna come back to the spot he got up. So just stand there. And I'm like, no, I'm following these dogs. Well, I didn't know if you see that dog, that rabbit's gonna be probably 50 to 100 yards in front of that dog. And I probably done missed him. Then all of a sudden I hear my dad shoot the back. Hey, I got him. You should have stayed where you was at. I'm like, here we go again. Another life lesson, man. There's a lot of, I tell people, man, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in the outdoors, man. Like patience is one. Yep. Just staying out there, man, is another one, man. Like some people, they miss that first deer or that turkey or whatever. They just give up. Don't go back out there, man. Like that perseverance, man. You gotta stick with it.
Yeah,
you got to stick with it. And there's a lot of life lessons to be learned outdoors, man.
It's funny because like I'm still working on the part where like it translates to other parts of my life. Like, because it is funny. Like I laugh at myself because I can go deer hunting, 3-4 days in a row, whatever. That fourth day be like mad because either I ain't see deer or didn't see deer that I wanted. Might take like a day off, and then like that fifth day, like I'm back out there, like it's day one, and then something come by, and then it's sticker, and it's like the other 4 days didn't even happen. Like it don't even matter. But like that patience Like I wish I could bottle that patience up that I have when I go deer hunting, and just that calm and that peacefulness, and just bring it back to the real world. Like I'm still trying to get it to transfer, into other parts of my life. But you're right, it is like man. I'm already counting down to the second Saturday in September. Like between college football and deer season, opening day for bow season here in Georgia. Like I said, is that second Saturday in September. I'm already counting down to it. Like I went swapped the battery out of one of my trail cameras yesterday, and I'm looking at where I got this trail camera monitor. Got this trail camera set up where I got this blind set up, and I'm like, I hadn't really had like a good encounter here in 2 years. Why is this blind still sitting here? And then just all of a sudden, out the blue, like all thing I was gonna do is just swap out the battery, get back, come back home. And then I start looking around, and I'm like, what if I put it over here? And then I just start walking, and then you see like, okay, oh, there was a scrape right here. It looks like it's an old one, but there's a scrape right here. There's another trail right here. You know what I mean? Like you just start like doing it. Like that was not my plan. But it's February, and I'm already like, okay, what can I do to set me up for the second Saturday in October or second Saturday in September? So it's just funny. Like I said, I have to laugh at myself sometimes because it really is. It's one of those things where your brain don't turn off.
Yeah, I think Fred Bear said it best. I think it was Fred Bear. He said something to the effect of like next year's hunt starts when the season's over. From the previous year or something like. I don't know exactly how he put it, but like soon as that hunting season's over, you better start preparing for next season. Like everything you did wrong, everything you did right, you need to put that intel, in your phone or whatever on Onyx or whatever, and make a game plan for, like you said, September, because it's September. I think it's the second week of September here in Kentucky too. So, and that's also when dove season opens up. So I like to hunt dove and get out there.
Yeah.
But the only thing with me, man, during that bow season, that September, man, I am terrified of snakes. And where I hunt, we got a lot of copperheads. Rattlesnakes are starting to make their way where I'm at, man. It's just like you got to keep your head on a swivel. And I hunt in a blind. So I'm like, and then it's in closed space. And I'm sitting there constantly looking on the ground. Like, So now basically what I did, I put like it's basically this little white sheet that I'll put on the ground and I'll stake it in. And so when I get in, I kind of take my flashlight and kind of flash it in there, make sure ain't nothing in there, flash the tops and make sure ain't nothing in there, and then I'll get in and I'm good, But I had a buddy of mine a couple of years ago, man. He was hunting in Texas, and he was sitting there with his buddy, and his buddy ended up dropping his phone, and all of a sudden he said they heard like this rattle, and about 5 seconds later, here comes this little rattlesnake coming in the blind with him. And the story he tells, man, he said there was a big old hole in that blind because he was getting out of there real fast, left his bow, left everything in there. And luckily his buddy had an arrow, and kind of before the snake could, look up, he put the arrow through his head or whatever and killed the snake. But he's like, I ain't been back to that blind since. He said, I'm scared to death. So
it is, especially in the early season, like between the mosquitoes, which I get, the thermocell pretty much keep them at bay in that closed space. Because I don't got to the point now I don't even like really getting in trees that much. Like I self-film pretty much all of my hunts. It's a lot easier. I like being in the blind. It's easier to get in. Like, so I'm pretty much in blind. So I'm the same thing. Like I'm always checking them corners, top and bottom, like making sure, I don't have anything that something could climb up under. Like I get paranoid. Sometimes I flip the seat over, because and the worst is tracking deer at night. Like, cause I've gotten to the point now where it's like 90% of the deer that I've killed is in the evenings. Like it's almost to the point where I don't want to go hunt in the mornings. I mean, I do because I want to try to get those odds back up. But 90% of the deer I kill are in the evening, and tracking the deer at night in September in Georgia is not always the brightest thing. And thank God so far it's worked out every time that I've done it. But it is very scary in September, and even though you got a bright light, your mind is fixated on blood. You looking for blood. And who can say that deer done tip over on a rattlesnake or a copperhead up underneath it when you trying to drag it out? Like, so yeah. No, you got, like you say, you gotta keep your head on the swivel.
Yeah, you do, man. Yeah, my farm that I hunt is it's basically an afternoon evening spot. I've killed a few deer there in the mornings, but primarily it's an evening spot. Now turkeys is a different story. Early morning they're there. They're also there in the evening. But if you want to get a good shot at it, you better get there pretty early and get settled in or whatever. Find your little tree, wait till they fly down or whatever, and then get to calling. But yeah, primarily it's an afternoon spot for deer. So I'll get in there, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, harvest my deer, doe, buck, whatever, and I'm usually tracking it at night. And like I said, you got to keep your head on swivel because there's everything in the woods now, man. You got bears, cougars, bobcats, coyotes. I mean, you got everything, man. And I don't know if you listen to my Halloween edition podcast. If you have it, you need to do your due diligence and go listen to it. It's funny, but I don't care what nobody says. I know what I seen.
Okay, and I gotta check it out because
I'll send it to you when I get off here. We was coon hunting. For anybody that ain't listened to it, go back and listen to it. But a buddy of mine that I won't name no names because he still don't want me to put his name out there. I'm trying to get him on the podcast to kind of tell the story, like his side of the story. I'm gonna try to do it probably October, like this year, like around Halloween. But coon hunting, I think we'd already got 2 or 3 coons at the time, man. We had to go across this creek, and I go down this little creek bottom, kind of go up the little hill, flash my light up there, and I'm 6'3". Whatever this was about 10 foot tall. And he had his head turned like this, looking at me, but his body was like he was about to take off running. So when I look back over my shoulder for my partner, he's gone. Like he's running straight towards my mama's house. And you know how black folks is. When somebody starts running, you better take off too. Drop rifles, dropped everything. And all I had on my side, I had a little 9mm on my side. I might have had my 10 mil. I can't remember what I had. I think I had my 9 though. But I just take off running. And he's got asthma real bad. So by the time he gets in my mama's yard and I catch up to him, and I ain't a fast person at all. I'm slow. So he's bent over. I'm thinking he's about to have an asthma attack. He's like, what was that? I said, I don't know. But when you took off running, I took off running. So it was my uncle's place. My uncle passed away. And they end up selling that part of the farm, so we can't hunt over it now. But when we could hunt over there, when you went back there, like you just got an eerie feeling. And even my uncles back in the day, they were saying that part of the woods, they said they'd always like try to hurry up and do everything they had to do in the daytime because they didn't want to be back there at night because they always got like an eerie feeling back there. They didn't tell me that until I told them that story. They thought I was crazy. Everybody thought I was drunk and high off something or whatever. And I'm like, man, I know what I seen. And my partner saw it too. So y'all can take that with a grain of salt. But I know what I seen. I don't know what the thing was, man.
It's as scary as I am because I don't do horror and I don't like to be, a whole bunch of like suspense and scary stuff. It's funny. I've been in the woods a few times on Halloween, and it's just always it's kind of like, okay, all right. Even in the mornings, I'm just like, all right, we're gonna do this. Like, we're gonna do it, but I don't know, Halloween in these woods, and so, but I know a lot of people. I mean, it's a great time of the year to be in the woods, though, because you never that time of the year, like shoot, pre-rut in some places, rut just starting to get fired up. Like,
Yeah,
it's a good time to be there, but that whole Halloween and spooky stuff, I don't necessarily mix.
it's weird, man, because like the farm I grew up on, man, like I've heard a lot of horror stories from that place. I've heard and seen some stuff myself, but like when my uncles and aunts get together, like on Thanksgiving and Christmas, like they tell stories that I ain't heard before, and I'm like, y'all just now telling me this? Y'all know I'm back here hunting all the time, It's like, oh, it ain't gonna bother you, I'm like, how you know it ain't gonna bother me? Like, just because it didn't bother y'all don't mean it ain't gonna bother me, But, but yeah, man. But yeah, back to archery. What you said your first bow was a bear. What you running now?
Matthews Halon 6. I bought it brand new in 2015, and I've owned a couple other Matthews since then, and ended up selling them all. And looking at like Facebook groups and stuff like that, I am glad I did not sell my Halon, because I've seen so many like seller regrets over them. The Halon, the Z7, the Chill, all of them, like all them old school Matthews bows. But I've tried, like I said, I've shot a couple of different ones, and I just keep coming back to my Halon.
Yeah, Halon is probably one of the better ones Matthews made, because I used to shoot Bowtech. The first bow I ever got from my boy Clay was I think it was a Bowtech Old Glory, and I ended up breaking the limbs on it, and then I ended up getting I think it was a Carbon Knight Bowtech after that. Had problems out of it. And then I had a Range 6 and a Range 7 Bowtech. Had problems out of them. The older Bowtechs and the newer Bowtechs, they're a lot better. I actually like the newer Bowtechs now, but I was in an archery shop with me and my homeboy, because I was like, man, I want to try some new, some different brands and whatever to see what new bow I want. And they had a Matthews V3, and I ended up shooting it, ended up walking out the door with it. And I started having cam issues out of that. I ended up upgrading to a V3X, had problems out of it, upgrading to the Phase 4, got rid of that, went back to a V3X. And then at the time I was shooting target archery. So I was shooting a TRX 8, and then I had a TRX 36 or 38. I think it was 36.
Yeah.
Having all kind of problems out of that. So end up going to PSE for a little bit, tried them. I'm with Prime now. I've been shooting their bows, and so far so good with them. But I think now the technology is so good that they don't make a bad bow now. It's all about your price point, what feels good to you.
Yeah. It's so funny because I'm in a few Matthews groups on Facebook, and it's just like you can set your clock to it. Like in November, anybody seen any pictures of the new Matthews? Anybody heard anything about the new Matthews? And I just be sitting there laughing because I'm like, y'all do this every year. Like it's the same thing every year. Like it's gonna come out. It's gonna, unless you just go and just grab one right from your dealer. It's gonna be like 6 to 8 to 12 to 18 weeks or whatever the hell it end up being. Like if you want something customized or whatever. And like I said, I did it one time. I think V3. I went full in on the V3, and I shot it, and I just never could feel good with it. Like I killed a deer with it too, but I just never could feel good with it. What was it, the V3? What was the other one? The little short one that came out that everybody was all up in arms out about. It was like a little short Matthews.
The Triax?
Yeah, I think it was the Triax.
Yeah, the Triax or the I think they had a VXR Triax. I can't remember what was before that, but the
I think it was the
Triax.
Triax. That was the one that's supposed to have like a short, like ATA or whatever. I was just like, okay, that's got to be good, because I'm starting to hunt in blinds more. It's like, okay, that's gonna be great. Maneuver around, yada yada yada. Couldn't stabilize that little ass bow to save my life. Way back to the Halon. That's the other thing too. Like even when I started looking at bows, like that Halon is like I think 30 to 30, like from excuse me, from like limb to limb or whatever. And bows nowadays, it's either 33 or 29. Like there's no like 30s, at least not in Matthews. I've looked at a couple of others, and I think Obsession might make a 30-inch bow. Darton, like a couple other companies, but everybody bows, they either going super longer or really short. So I'm just like, as long as it keeps shooting, I change the strings out every couple years. I put a different sight on it. Year before last, the Trophy Red sight that I like. Other than that, shoot, I keep shooting that thing and keep killing with it till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, I think Matthews now has a. I'm about to share my screen with you real quick. I think it's called a Lift RS. And it's 20.
Yeah.
I think it's 27 axle to axle. From what I'm seeing here, all the specs, and it goes from a 23
like
and a half.
Try.
Yeah, I mean it's a super short, for I guess people with short draws and whatever. But
yep.
But basically, I think Darton might have one. I think it's the sequel they came out with. I know they make one in a 35, a 33, and a 31. But mostly, like you said, I can't shoot a short axle to axle bow. I've got to have at least a 32 axle to axle. I prefer a 33 or bigger, but sometimes you get in that blind, like you said, man, like you got them big long axle to axle bows. It's hard to get in there and maneuver it. But them short ones, man, I just can't. I can't maneuver with them, man. Like I just can't. That I'm gonna have to put a whole lot of weight on there to stabilize it, man. But they don't feel good to me.
Well, and then like you said, because you're 6'3", like I'm 6 foot, so like 30 inch bow, like with a 30-inch draw weight or draw length. I pull 60. Like I ain't trying to impress nobody. Like I don't need 75, 80 pound limbs or whatever. Like I pull my little 60 and just practice, make sure you try to be accurate as possible and keep it moving. So, and I'm very much, that's the thing about archery, man. Like, and I've done it the last couple of years just in the sake of like making videos and stuff. But you can really find yourself doing a lot of tinkering and going down the rabbit hole. And it just, archery is not the thing. I know some people like tinkering and trying different stuff and all this other stuff, man. But if you got something that works and it worked 98% of the time on up, leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Like when I started trying to chase the new bows and all that other stuff, and I kept coming back to the Halon, I'm like, I'm wasting time because I'm trying to learn this new bow, trying to get comfortable, trying to, get good at shooting this bow when I could still be like building on the foundation that I already built with my Halon. So that's how I look at it. I know some people, they like tinkering and tearing stuff apart, but like, look, if I get it to shooting the way I like it and killing the way I like it, leave it alone.
Yeah, I'm one of them guys. And I got a friend, Dylan. Man, I love Dylan to death. I know he listens to his podcast. Dylan Gilbert, I love you to death. But me and him, man, I swear, like we could go out today with the bows that we got shooting 3D archery and end up getting first and second place. And as soon as we get home, we're gonna find something that we didn't like or whatever and start tinkering and just messing it up and then going back out the next Saturday or whatever, getting 30th place. That's just, I mean, I don't know. Like with my rifles and stuff and my handguns, you know, I pretty much got what I got, and I'm pretty much set. I know what I like there, whatever. But my bows, man, like I always want to, like now, I always want to try to find the newest thing. But me, I don't like to pay full price for anything. Like my boys is always messing with me because I like to barter. I like to trade around for whatever. You know, I ain't paying full price for nothing. So I find something in my, you know, archery closet or my handgun closet or something that I ain't using no more. Like, hey man, you want to trade me this for that? Yeah, man, I'll do that and try it out for a little while. If I don't like it, I'll trade it for something else. Because if you don't, man, you're gonna end up spending. You know, my boy Trey was talking about this on my podcast the other day. He knows a guy in his shop up here in South Dakota, man. Like he's always tinkering with his stuff. And in like 3 or 4 weeks' time, he had bought all of the top name sites. Spent like $3,000-$4,000 trying all these sites out. You know, that will get expensive real fast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's funny because I'm not so much of a trader, a haggler, because again, the way my patient's set up, if I want something, I want it right then. But I will definitely like buy used or like, you know, for as much grief as people give Amazon, if you can find like the quality stuff. Now I ain't talking about buying like knockoff broadheads and stuff like that, but like I bought blinds off of Amazon Baronet, used Baronet blinds that are like normally like $250 for like $90 used off of like Amazon. And so like I will go that route. But the way my patient's set up, like once I set my mind that I want something, like I'm definitely gonna try to find it the cheapest way possible. But all that haggling back and forth, like my patients ain't set up for that.
I love it, man. My dad was the haggler, man. Like we used to go to these little strip malls and these little pawn shops and stuff on Saturday mornings and flea markets and stuff like that. And my dad, like I said, dad was left-handed. So only thing that I do left-handed is fish because he didn't want me messing with his rods and reels. So I learned to fish left-handed. So we'd always go and we'd haggle and get the newest ambassador, you know, Iber Garcia, 5,500, 5,000 or whatever. He go home, set it up. All right, here. I'm like, Dad, I can't reel. He's like, well, you're gonna have to learn or you're gonna have to buy your own stuff. So like now, if I try to reel with my right, it just don't even feel right.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, you gotta know you fish left-handed. I'm like, I do because of my dad. You know, it don't even feel right to put it, but
yeah.
He was the ultimate haggler. My grandfather was the same way. My uncles, you know, we grew up on a farm. So like if my uncle needed like a piece of equipment and didn't want to, you know, pay full price for it, he'd find something in the barn that he wasn't using and go around the corner and be like, hey, I got this. You want to trade? And
yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that if it, you know, like you said, it's in your blood. But it's funny about the left-handed thing because I'm right-handed. Like I right-handed, like I'm naturally right-handed. I bat it right-handed, throw right-handed, all of that when I play baseball. Started shooting the bow and shoot the ball left-handed, all because of eye domination. It was like you can either continue to shoot right-handed and wear a patch, or you can learn how to shoot left-handed. And that's like when I shoot shotguns, I showed them my shotgun left-handed. I shoot my bow left-handed, all because of my eye domination. And I've done it so much. Now, like I said, it's knocking on like 9 years. It's like second nature. Like you said, it's muscle memory. Like I don't even know, like if I tried to go back and shoot like right-handed. And that's the thing too in archery, like left-handed stuff, it's getting a little bit better now. But like when I first started, like finding left-handed stuff was like a damn goose chase, like trying to get like left-handed accessories and whatnot.
Yeah, it was, man. I mean, it's especially back then because my dad, you know, left-handed, but everything he had was right-handed, and he finally found a left-handed shotgun, which I still own to this day, and I'll be trying to shoot that thing, and I just can't do it. Like, but I'm like you. I'm left eye dominant, but I'm right-handed. I bat right-handed. I write right-handed. but
Yeah.
I feel like if I can teach myself to learn to shoot a bow left hand, I think I'll be a lot more accurate. Like I'm pretty good right-handed. I ain't the greatest shot in the world. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm Levi Morgan or nobody, but I'm a pretty good shot. But like the way I have to position my feet to see,
Yeah.
Through that peep sight is a little different than most people. Most people, when they shoot, they got their feet together. I kind of got it as, well, you're a baseball player. I've got an open stance.
Okay. Yeah.
So my stance is like open, like I'm trying to hit that inside fastball. So I'm here, but my stance is open. So when I turn my head, I'm looking through my left eye, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I shoot with both eyes open.
Okay. That's wild. Like mine is very, very like try to be like very perpendicular, like feet relatively together, or like, well, now especially shooting, sitting down is just like feet, if they not together, at least pointing same direction, and then body turn this way, and then trying to execute that shot. But
Yeah,
like I'm able to change.
I just grew up like it, man. Like my dad was always saying, shooting rifles, I need to, close my left eye, shoot looking through the scope. And I just never could like close my eye. It looked weird. I'm sitting there trying to close my eye. I just learned to shoot with both eyes open. And everybody's like, man, why would you close your eye? And then when that movie American Sniper came out, the movie about Chris Kyle, when he's laying down in there and his drill instructor was like, you need to close your eyes. He said, no, something's out there. And he's like, man, ain't nothing out there. And he's like, no, something's out there. I can see it. And he's like, you wouldn't be seeing it if, both your eyes, your eye wouldn't, both your eyes was open or whatever. And he ended up shooting a rattlesnake or whatever. And that rattlesnake popped up or whatever. So I was like, man, see, I said, this is the best shooter in the world with a rifle. I knew I was doing something right. So since then, that's always my go-to. When people say, I was like, hey, Chris Kyle shot with both eyes open, and he was the best shooter in the world. So
right. It's like, why? If it ain't broke, then don't fix it.
Yeah. As my dad used to say, if it ain't broke, don't break it. So
I like that.
If it ain't broke, don't break it. So, but yeah, man, you said you're a big pig hunter, right?
I try to get into it. Like it's easier. Deer's like the easiest thing. Pigs, like I would have to go to like an outfitter. Like there's so plentiful here in Georgia. I like to go to guys that like run dogs and like run dogs and let you shoot them with a bow, because some guys, like when you running hogs with dogs, some guys they use pits, and then you get them pits, they get on the ear, and then you go in and like do it with the spear. Some guys like to go in, do it with a knife, like all close and personal. I like to go to guys that use hounds, and the hounds will bay them, and then you kind of come in once it's safe, and the hounds are definitely out of the way, because pass through or whatnot, and then pop them like that. Like I can sit in a blind and do it, but like I said, I found it a lot easier just to go with guys that run hounds and that'll let you use like a bow or whatever. Because some guys, unfortunately, they've had bad experiences with guys with bows on their hogs or on their dogs, running hogs and stuff. But that's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, I got a homeboy, man. I put out a post on Facebook a couple years back, like, hey man, does anybody know anything about hog hunting, who I need to contact or whatever? And I got a homie here named Zach Meredith, man. Shout out to Zach if he's listening. But he's like, hey man, you need to go with us. He said, we run dogs and we got these big Bowie knives. And he's like, the dogs get him. And you basically go in there, and I was like, I can't do it. I said, I need to be sitting in a blind something. When that hog comes out, I can pull back, take that shot, because man, I mess around that dog, let go of it. I just in my mind, everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And I'm just like, I ain't trying to come back with my legs all scarred up or whatever from these, from these boars or whatever. But I want to go somewhere.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you good? I said I want to go somewhere where, basically I can take my bow, I can kind of sit like either like in a blind or something, and like with a feeder, and they come to that feeder. I can pick one out, take my shot like that. But I don't know about the dog situation. I don't know, man.
And the crazy thing is, like, I've done it a few times, like with the feeder, and like sitting in the blind or whatever. Them jokers don't stop moving. Like, they come in, and they usually come in groups, like even at night, like with the green, like I've done it at night, like with the green light. That's pretty cool, like, because it's brighter than you think it would be. And they are so unbothered because they just focused on whatever's on that ground, that corn or whatever. But it ain't like a deer, like a deer come in and its head will be moving, but the body will be like, halfway still or whatever. They fixated on that one spot while they eating. Pigs, boy, they be all over the place. Here. You trying to like get a shot. Obviously, it can be done. Don't get me wrong. But shoot, that dog, like last year, I shot one. I went down to Florida. A guy was running dogs, and I was sitting. By the time I got ready to shoot him, we was in like knee-high like water, and this was in February, so little bit chillier. Like I would probably be deathified in Florida trying to run dogs in the swamp in like June. Like I probably wouldn't be able to concentrate. But like in February,
gators and them pythons,
it's like in February when it was, it's still, a little cold, a little chilly or whatever. It's like, all right. But long story short, dog, we ran through swamp water, run through, back and forth, wetland, whatnot. And I shot that hog sitting basically like crouched down with my butt just on top of the water, just enough of his vitals exposed. And I was probably maybe like 5 yards away from him and popped him right behind the shoulder and watch him like spew like through his nose and stuff. Arrow went straight through him, spewed his nose, and he just sunk right there. And then probably like a few minutes later, he like turned over. And the thing that pissed me off about it, because I was so close. When I looked at the footage, like I had a cam on my bow, like a tacticam on my bow. The only thing you see is you hear the shot and you see like the level of the water, but you don't see the actual shot of the arrow going through him. God, it pissed me off so bad because I could see it in my mind to this day. Like,
yeah, that's the thing with those tactic cams and shot cams, man. They need to work on making those things, because you're putting them on shotguns, you're putting them on bows, but as soon as you take that shot, that vibration is going to bounce your camera up. And I wish they could do something about that. I guess that's why most of your big time hunters, man, they got cameramen with them, and I just
I ain't
there yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I enjoy, my background is in television, so I enjoy like self-filming, and it's the Virgo in me. Like, if I can do it by myself, I'm gonna do it by myself. So like,
right, yeah,
I'll figure out a way like they just do it. But yeah, that running around with dogs, man, it is so much fun. It's so much fun. And it's kind of like a break, like a breather, like a change up from, you spend all them hours and days sitting in a blind deer hunting. And it's like, all right, we go. They turn them hounds loose. And about 15, 20 minutes later, they own one of them pigs.
I also was looking in because I want to go pig hunting this year. It's on my list of things to get done. But I was looking. There's this guy in Texas. I can't exactly remember. I got it saved on YouTube, but he's got an airboat, and basically take a shotgun with double aught buck or whatever. You could take the plug out and basically he'll run you right up on these hogs, man. You just sitting there just blasting them with your shotgun. Then you reload, and they'll show you where they at again. Like you just, but they're just running from this airboat. And I know they also do them in the helicopters in Texas too, man. But I looked into that, man. That's way too expensive for me.
Yeah, I see. That's funny. I seen the helicopter thing, and I put that even on a higher level, like with the tree stand. Like is bad enough to get me to get in the tree stand or get in a climber, and I'll be halfway all right. In a moving helicopter, like, and you can actually see the ground, and you tilt it trying to shoot out of it.
Yeah, and you in there strapped in, whatever. I don't like heights either. So like if I'm tilted like that, I better have something or somebody hold me, because I'm gonna feel like I'm about to fall out of this helicopter. But I'm sure they got harnesses and all that stuff that's keeping you in there, you know what I'm saying? But I know there's some safety precautions you gotta go through, man. But like I said, my mind just the way it be racing, man. I've been fell out of the helicopter into that swamp. And that's the last of me, you know what I'm saying? But
put me on the ground and pound. I'm all about the ground game.
Yeah, me too, man. You doing turkey hunting?
I killed a turkey in Nebraska with my bow. I've killed a couple of turkeys with a shotgun. That's another one. I just can't get amped about it. And I don't know why. Like every year, like I go through the same thing every year. About March, I start walking around, start looking for sign. It's like, okay, because turkey season here in Georgia, like they move it around, they play around with it. But usually that last week in March, that first week in April, somewhere in that neighborhood is when it opens. And I see them, and I see them all the time deer hunting, and I'm remember where I see them at when I'm deer hunting. Of course, they're not there in the spring. I make a note where I see them at, like early, like spring, like late winter. And I just like, first of all, I can't call. Second of all, I hate Easterns because what I've learned is if you go west, like Nebraska, like that turkey I killed in Nebraska, I probably called, like the guy told me, he was like, Rios, Miriams and Rios, you can call to them. They're not like Easterns. I feel like Easterns, you just got to hope a wing and a prayer. You get close enough, they fly down, and then testosterone kicks in, is how I feel like hunting Easterns are. Rios and Miriams, boy, you can get on that thing and you could be the worst turkey caller in the world. As long as you can mimic some sound of a hen, them turkeys eventually gonna come.
Right.
So like I said, I hadn't developed a passion for it yet, and I think it's because I suck at it.
Hey, it's different, man. We got the Easterns here in Kentucky, man. I've killed my fair share. I got a bunch of fans up here on the wall, but I can't tell you how many that I've missed. Just trial and error, making the wrong move. Like, funny story, man. I was this was probably 6-7 years ago, man. I was hunting with a buddy of mine when I was still in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where I went to college at WKU, Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Western Kentucky.
That's where I went to college. Go Tops. But he's like, hey man, you want to go turkey hunting in the morning? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. He said, you got a shotgun? I said, yeah, I got everything I need. And he's like, all right, man. He was like, meet me at my house, 5 o'clock. We got like a pretty long way to walk to get to these birds. I said, that's fine. At the time, I was in pretty good shape. I didn't care about walking. Now I don't want to walk 100 yards to get to my stand. But so we sitting there, man, and this man can call. I mean, my dude can call, and we got probably 3 birds behind us, 3 in front of us. He said, which way you want to go? I said, man, you know this land better than I do. He said, well, there's a creek bottom down here. He said, if we can get down in that creek bottom, he said, they're going to come across this little roost where they roost down in there. They're going to try to come across this little patch of like grass coming across on to the other side of this creek. I was like, all right, cool. So we go post up down there. And like you said, here come these birds. There's probably 3 of them. He's sitting there calling them. They're sitting there gobbling their heads off. And I'm like, oh man, it's about to happen. We about to double up. And these birds get so close, you can hear that drumming that they do. You know what I'm saying? Like when they get real close to you.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, man, like I got my shotgun on my knee. And this man, I don't know what happened. He let out the biggest sneeze I've ever heard in my life.
That pollen.
And he just looks at me and was like, I'm sorry, man. Look up, them birds flying, they are gone. And I'm like, bro, you couldn't hold it in? He said, dude, I couldn't. He said, I was trying my best to hold it in. He said, I couldn't do it. I was like, all right, man, it's all good. You know, hunt's over. I go back to the truck. You know, I didn't talk to him the whole way back to the house, right? Get home, take a shower, go eat with my buddies or whatever. I'm telling this story to them. They're making fun of him, you know, whatever. So he's like, hey, let's go back out and try it in the morning. I was like, cool, let's do it. Right. Get in pretty much the same spot. Here comes them birds. I said, bro, if you sneeze, I said, I'm going to take the butt of this shotgun and I'm about to knock you out. And he's kind of like laughing. He's like, no, man, we good. Don't worry about it. I was like, all right. So I get ready, you know, birds are getting close. They're coming behind this tree. And he said, you know, he's whispering to me. He's like, man, as soon as they break this tree, you take the one on the right, I'll take the one on the left. Cool. Got it down. Well, I'll be damned if I don't sneeze.
Y'all ain't take no Zyrtec or nothing before y'all go out in these woods.
Bro, I took a Zyrtec the night before, and I took one that morning before I even got there. I said, this ain't gonna happen to me. And I'll be dang, dog. Like it was one of them, like you're trying to keep it in, but it was one of them like yeah, you know. Right. Birds heard it, they gone. He's sitting there looking at me. He's like, really? And you gonna get mad at me? I was like, I'm sorry, dog. Man, it took us almost 2 weeks to end up getting back on these birds, man. But we ended up hitting a double that day when we did it. They came across that same patch or whatever, and everything was perfect. He took the one on the left, I took the one on the right. We doubled up, but man, it was that opening weekend was rough for us, man. I was like, I ain't never. And then, you know, I was the butt of the joke then, you know, we was out, you know, eating and hanging out. It's like, well, see what, you know, see Will did today. And I'm like, man, be quiet.
That is funny. Both of y'all out there sneezing.
Out there sneezing in the woods, man. And you know how turkeys are, man. They scary anyways. I mean, you make it one little move, they gone. Right. You know, so right. But
that is. Like I said, that's probably like, and it's one of those things, you know how like you have like they call it, I guess, beginner's luck or whatever. Like I said, the first turkey I ever killed with a bow, and it was downhill since then. Like I hadn't even got close to one with a bow. I killed another one with a shotgun. That was actually pretty fun, and that bird was out there too. To me, it was out there. I think that bird was almost like 40 yards. Like I touched him with a shotgun. That turkey was like 7 with my bow. But like I said, here is like just trying to do it on my own here in Georgia. Like I said, with these stubborn Easterns that as soon as they hit the ground, they be quiet. And I've talked to just like all kinds of people that like great turkey hunters, like you say, got all kind of fans and beards and stuff on the wall and whatnot. And, you know, they pretty much all say the same thing with Easterns. It's like, you got to call, like, you can't call that much. You got to call, like, real quiet. Like, you can't overdo it or whatever. I'm like, man, take me back to Nebraska or Texas or somewhere where I can just get out there and just wail and sound. Look, I can sound like a $2 whore and they're going to come in regardless because they just want to see what's going
Right.
on. These Easterns, boy, they sedity. They high society. They didn't.
Yeah. I ain't hunting nothing but Eastern, man. I plan to get out and hunt some Osceolas and Marions and Rios, in the future. I got an open invitation. I got a buddy that lives in Kennesaw, Georgia. And he's been trying to get me to come down there and do some hog hunting and do some turkey hunting. So I'm gonna try to get down there in probably the next year or two. But I'm definitely gonna try to get into some other states, do some hunting, do some filming and stuff, just get some content out there. But for mostly me, I hunt Kentucky, man. It's just my work schedule, and just stuff like that, man. I ain't. Plus, like some of my buddies, man, like a lot of my buddies, like my best friends in the military. So he don't turkey hunt nothing like that. He's a big deer hunter. I hunt ducks, I hunt geese, I hunt pretty much whatever's in season. And a lot of times when like I want to go out of town and like hunt something, he's got like a military, something like a military ball or drill or something that he can't go with me.
Yeah.
But now, I got my boy Jay, Trey, and all them, they're in a different state, but they're always down to roll and go somewhere. So I got some people to go with now. I just got to make the drive and meet up with them. But it is what it is.
That's definitely awesome. Because like you said, just work. that pesky work schedule gets in the way of a lot of things, man. Like,
it does.
Because I pretty much hunt here in Georgia, and then I got a buddy that I grew up with in South Carolina that lets me hunt their place. Like they used to farm and whatnot, but they still have like they don't really farm since his dad passed, but they still keep the land in the family, and his uncle will let me go out there and piddle around like with the deer and stuff. And that's probably like my biggest bucket list thing right now is to shoot the kill a deer in South Carolina. Like that just because it's my home state, and I want to be able to say that I did it. Like I tried bear hunting. I wasn't overly successful at that, but I still enjoy it. Like I would do it again. Like you said, I'm all about like trying to hunt new animals with a bow within reason. Like
within reason.
Yeah, within.
I got a buddy, man. His name's Jordan Johnson. He is the biggest Florida Gators fan you'll ever meet in your life, and probably one of the best hunters I've seen. And he went bear hunting in Tennessee. He got one this year with a rifle. And turkey hunting, man, he's probably one of the best I've ever seen. Spotting and stalking, just running and gunning.
Yeah.
But for me, I watched a lot of Westerns growing up. That was my thing. I love a good Western because that's what my granddaddy used to watch and my daddy used to watch. And I cannot remember the name of the movie, but they was tracking this grizzly bear that pretty much destroyed this little village, killed a bunch of men, women, or whatever. So they go out and get this search party, and somehow the bear ended up tracking them and taking like 5 of them out. And so like the rest of the movie, it's like this dude and his partner, and they're like back to back sleeping and looking out for this bear. And I know that was a grizzly bear. And y'all know ain't no grizzly bears here in Kentucky and Tennessee. Like it's black bears.
Right.
But like I said, the way my mind works, that's what would happen. I'd be tracking this bear, and somehow he'd get behind me and be tracking me, and I'm sleeping in my tent, and all of a sudden I'm getting drug off in the Appalachian Mountains somewhere.
Yeah, it's funny because I've seen people like kill grizzly bears with a bow, and I'm just like, wow. Like that's all I can say is just wow. Because I don't, and close too. Like, no disrespect to rifle hunters, hey, hunt with whatever is legal, whatever makes you comfortable. Don't get me wrong, but like I will skip past the rifle hunts and go straight to the bow hunts on YouTube. And when I see guys like killing like grizzly bears and just up close and personal. I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, wow. Wow. Because I don't, there's no way that I could steady myself with a 8 foot or whatever, however tall grizzly bear standing there. And even with the guide or with a rifle or whatever as a backup, like for safety, for everybody's safety involved, the cameraman, you, him, like my nerves, I just don't know if I could execute that. And I'm just like, man, that is amazing.
Yeah, I seen a video a while back. I think it was a couple years ago. It was a guy on Kodiak Island. He's sitting in kind of like this little ground blind, like in the brush, and this grizzly walks probably 5 yards in front of him, like right by him, and he don't even sight it. He just takes that arrow and just lets go. He said, the bear takes off, does a little death moan, and that bear was like 10 foot tall. And I'm like, how in the world? I said, man, I'd have a heart attack.
Right. Yep.
Just something too close, man. I love watching stuff like that, man. But like out there trying to hunt, like, what's your boy's name? Jim Shockey. He was out there hunting, and that mountain lion came after him or whatever, and out of the just go ahead and take me on the Jeep.
I'm good on all that. Like black bears, they relatively docile. Like, for as docile as a wild animal can be, right? Like,
right.
That's probably about where I'll draw the line. That's about probably where the line's gonna be drawn at. Like I'm thinking about Africa, like just because I've seen so many people like do it, and that for somebody that travels a lot for work, like I'm not a big social traveler, but I think with my 50th birthday coming up in the next couple of years, Lord willing, like I can see myself trying to do that, like for my 50th.
You said your 50th birthday coming up in a couple of years?
Yeah, I have to do the math. Yeah, I turned 47 last year, so I'll be 48 this year.
Yeah, you old, dog.
I told you.
No, man, I would have thought that I'm 38, so I thought you was right around in that 38, 40 range, but
no, black don't crack, no. I still got to keep it tight, ladies.
Black don't crack, brown don't frown, as my grandma used to say.
So like when I picked up a bow, like I was 30. Yeah, I was 38.
That's what's up. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, that's why I always say, like, I got into this late. So like when people talk about, going with their father and killing their first deer at 5 and all like that, like it was, all that stuff is great and it's cool, and like I can only imagine how exciting it is. But like that ain't my story. Like, I'm late to this and I'm still learning. And I like learning at my own pace. I think, and meeting new people to talk to and stuff about it. Cause I think if I had somebody like hovering over me, like as an adult, like maybe I would be further along. I don't know. But I also know, again, the way my patient's set up and how I learn, like I can see it probably stressing me out and being like, you know what? I don't even want to mess with this. Like,
right. Yeah, I get that. What's your dream hunt, man? So if you could go anywhere and hunt for anything, where are you hunting, and what are you hunting for?
Dream hunt?
Yeah, your dream hunt, man. Anywhere for anything.
It would probably be a combination of it would be, I don't know. I feel like Iowa is like textbook. Like everybody says Iowa, but Iowa is like that's super hard, like to draw and stuff, like as an out-of-stater.
Right.
I think Kansas is more tangible. So I would probably say like deer hunting, either between deer hunting in Kansas or really being able to do like the mega like African hunt where you get like, like buffalo, zebra, Yeah, like wildebeest, warthogs, impalas. Like you just go crazy.
Yeah.
That probably between one of those two. Like like in my mind, like I've looked at New Zealand and Australia and places like that, but that's just like I mean I can keep it 100 because I'm okay with it. Like that's just not my style of hunting. Like I'm not a spot and stalk hunter. Like that's just not my deal. Like
Right.
put me in a blind over a food source, over some water, whatever the case is, and let me wait this thing out and get that great shot and let's get to it. Like that's my hunting style, like currently. Like so those would probably be those two.
That's
One of
what's
those
up.
two.
Yep. Do you follow dude named Tone Brown on Instagram? I think his Instagram name's Authentic Savage. You need to look him up. If not, I can get you his information. I've had him on the podcast before.
Trying
He
to
goes
say because sometimes I look at people and it's funny, like I'll see people like on your podcast or like on Dreaded Archer, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I do follow that dude. See, like this dude, right? Incredible Tone. Yep.
Hit him up.
Yeah.
That man has been to Africa a lot of times, and I think he's got like 5 world records.
Oh wow.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%
so
positive.
It's funny you say that because I went through his pictures the other day. Because he got pictures where he went to Africa in November.
Yeah, he's got let me find it, man. What is his name?
On Instagram, it's Incredible Tone. The Incredible Tone.
Incredible Tone, yeah. But he's got a new video out on YouTube. It's called Handguns and Hog Hunts, the real Florida. I'm gonna send it over to you. But
okay.
He's talking about it. He's talking about it on there, and it's like his little video series this guy does with like people from Florida, and they get him on there, man. And he goes to the range and shooting some handguns, doing some rifle shooting. Then they go to the out in the swamp, and they go hog hunting. And he's talking about how he goes to Africa and whatever. And I want to say on there he's got a couple world records or something he said on there. I could be wrong about that, but that's the guy to talk to if you want to go to Africa. I'm sure he's got some connections and to get over there. He's been over there a few times. So,
and I think
I'd love to get over there.
Yeah, that because I've seen people like it's one thing like you go once, but then when I started seeing like a lot of us going like multiple times, I'm just like, wow, okay, like it's like I seen people that go to Africa like they go to Kansas,
right?
You know what I mean? Like they go like every year, like that's they Kansas or they Iowa or whatever, and if again, if I could ever get to that point financially where I could just do that without blinking, like I've done something.
Yeah, my grandmama always said, you need to get to the motherland at least once in your life, whether you're hunting or just going over there just to, for history purposes. And I'm a big history buff like my grandmother was. So I would love to just set foot in the motherland and just, embrace, all our history and all our heritage and just, just take all that in. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to go to the Cairo, see the pyramids, Johannesburg, just places like that, man. Just knock it off the list. But like I said, it ain't cheap to get over there, and you got to take 20,000 shots, and you can't drink the water. Like it's all kind of stuff you got to go through. But I think it'd be worth it to get over there at least one time. But
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, man. I appreciate you hopping on this podcast with me, man. I know it's been a long time. Appreciate what you're doing, all your content, man, that you posting on on IG and YouTube and everything, man. You doing it big for the culture, man. And if there's anything that I could ever do for you, man, you got my phone number. Just reach out to me, man.
Absolutely, same thing here. Like like I told you before, like I caught your podcast, and like I love what you're doing. Like you and Dreaded Archer. Um, God, I know he gonna kill me now because I can't think of his name. Y'all, I call it the archery first take that y'all doing now on Mondays.
New Jack Archers.
Yeah, New Jack Archers. Like I tap in, and watch. If I can't watch it when y'all doing it, at least I like go back and watch like the clips and stuff, and y'all killing it. So like as a person that did podcasts for a while, like I understand the grind, I understand, everything that come along with that, and now video podcasting. So man, shout out to you and all of y'all, man. Y'all keep doing it, keep doing your thing, keep the podcast going. Yeah, absolutely. Keep it going, bro.
It's like I tell everybody, man, like I ain't doing this for the fame. I ain't doing this for the money or nothing like that because I'm not getting paid. Like I'm not sponsored. I got some people that kind of help me out or whatever, like I partner with or whatever, but I just do this for the love of the game, and just to tell my story. And I like to hear stories. So when I interview people, I just love to hear, how they grew up, and most 9 times out of 10, it's kind of like I grew up, it's just, it's just in a different part of the world, different part of the country. So it's just, it's awesome just to hear those stories of how these people grew up and how they got into the outdoors and who got them into the outdoors, whether it was their father or their grandfather or somebody not even in their, in their family lineage, what I'm saying? Just somebody that they happen to stumble upon and, hey man, can you teach me how to hunt? And that's how it is. Cause I feel like hunting's dying. Hunters got a big target on their back because people's always saying, you're killing these animals and this, and you're doing this, man, and I want to leave something to my son. Everything that I've learned from my dad, man, everything you kill, you eat. You try to take the most ethical shot possible, put that animal down as fast as possible, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like the small things that people don't really talk about.
Yep. No, you're right. Like, and it aggravates me at times. Well, two things. Like one, like I love seeing like how many of us have been embracing like the hunting and outdoors aspect. Like there's a lot of us that do like outdoors, like hiking, fishing, just nature walks and stuff like that. But like in this hunting space, like grabbing a bow, grabbing a rifle, like it ain't nothing new. Like it's part of our culture, it's part of our heritage and our history. Like you said, you grew up in it. When my family members found out that I started hunting and stuff, like some of them told me stories of how my grandfather, like I never met either side of my grandfathers, but it was like my grandfather used to like being in the woods. So I'm just like, there's times that I think like, okay, somewhere along the line that's trickled down into me. But like I love to see it, man. I love to see it. And they keep this thing going. And a lot of times hunters, sometimes we can be our own worst enemy, bickering over nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have arguments all the time with people there. They're like, man, your podcast is promoting, diversity problems and all this other stuff and whatever. And I'm like, how do you figure? I was like, put yourself in my shoes as a 7-year-old kid when I'm sitting here watching Kentucky Field and I don't see anybody on TV that looks like me doing what I love to do. It kind of puts you in a space where you don't think you're supposed to be doing it. And it kind of also puts you in a space where you're kind of like, I do this, but I don't want nobody to know. Because for the longest time, man, in college, like I hid who I was just to fit in with the people that I was hanging with. But they knew just from my country twang that I've got and whatever. Like, man, we knew you were country. Like, you ain't got to hide that from us,
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm not trying to make it so like a race. I ain't trying to make it as a race thing or nothing like that. I'm just telling the side of a story that most people like me didn't see growing up. And it's just nice to see somebody that looks like you on the other side, of this microphone or other side of this, this camera setup that has the same, passion that I do, went to some of the same struggles that I did, and we can have a conversation about it. That's where I'm at with it.
Absolutely. No, like I said, I appreciate you. Keep it going, and I'll be watching. And the same thing, that you extend to me, like I extend back to you. If I can help you or whatever, just let me know.
Will do, man. I appreciate you, man. So this podcast will be out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on my personal YouTube page. Make sure you give it a like, subscribe. It helps me out. It helps the podcast out. Leave a review, leave a like, and go follow my boy Official Bryant Land, man. I know I butchered his name at the beginning of the podcast, but
that's
go
all you
follow
need to remember. Official Bryant Land is everything. Bryant Land on YouTube. Officialbryantland.com is the store. Official Bryant Land on Instagram. Like, just hit me up, leave a comment. Like you say, make sure you following. We do this too. Like everybody out here just trying to put their content out and tell their stories, man.
Absolutely, man. But I appreciate y'all listening. I appreciate everybody listening to, the New Jack Archers, new thing that we got out right now. And I just appreciate the love and all the feedback that I've been given, man. Just keep it coming. I'm gonna keep doing this. Like I said, I'm not doing this for the fame. I'm not doing this for the money, man. I'm just doing this for the love of the game. So I appreciate y'all that's been with me since day one, man. I can't express how much that means to me. So, but big game, small game, all game, we do this too. We out.